It's water! There's an oasis!
Water?
Yeah, water!
Water!
Come on, let's go!
Monolith Soft is quite the workhorse these days. After bringing Xenoblade Chronicles 2 to Switch in 2017, followed by its DLC, the studio then remastered the original game with a hefty new chapter added in 2020. A mere 2 years later, enter Xenoblade Chronicles 3, the culmination of a journey that began back on Wii 2 generations ago. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is a fantastic follow-up that takes some of the best parts of its predecessors and weaves them into something impressive. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 not only delivers a massive, wonderful world as expected, but its narrative and character arcs delve into darker themes than previously seen. The world is caught in an endless spiral of conflict, in which two factions fight for survival, and all of its inhabitants know nothing but war for the duration of their short lives. Yet comrades from each side stumble into an unlikely situation where they must learn to fight together, lest they perish before they can uncover the true nature of the world they know so little about.
Shut it! Stop flapping your gums and move!
Yeah! We've got more incoming!
It's a solid story with some of the best writing in the series, even if it's short on the twists and turns. The interactions between the main cast feel more natural as they gradually overcome their initial misgivings and form the bonds needed to help them through the hardships ahead. When the tale's few surprises do kick in, they feel genuinely earned and not out of left field. They also leave a significantly stronger emotional impact because of the excellent character development. Even the moment-to-moment conversations impress, and you can really feel how much each character grows by the end of their journey.
Very cautious of you.
It's my duty to be.
Thank you.
The excellent narrative extends beyond the main quests and into the side attractions too. The optional hero quests that unlock new characters are easily the highlight of the game. This isn't specifically because of their individual plotlines, though several are must-sees, but rather, it's the way they're designed to encourage you to explore the world in order to undertake and complete them. Usually tucked away off the main path, these otherwise missable locales typically host small settlements or other notable landmarks. Once you complete their quests, these heroes can join your party in battle, which is a most enticing carrot to pursue. Each hero boasts a unique job type, so in addition to the 6 jobs your main characters bring to the table, there are over a dozen extras to discover. It's really the complete package when it comes to how well the hero quests are implemented. They masterfully serve as a blueprint on how to implement meaningful side quests that are optional but add so much to the overall narrative and world building.
Protect my friends!
While hero quests provide ample reason to strike out into the unknown, the massive world provides plenty of other incentives to explore its stunning environments. Previous entries dazzled with their scale and scope, as well as fantastical settings, but this latest entry takes the cake. Sure, in the early hours it might not seem like much, but eventually, the true nature of this exceptional effort becomes apparent. It's not just the incredible size of the major zones, but the diversity of the biomes within each is equally inspiring. Hidden paths, hard-to-reach landmarks, and an overwhelming sense of adventure are expected when it comes to Xenoblade, and there's no shortage of any of these hallmarks. The fast travel system is as convenient as ever, and for the aging Switch, the load times are a substantial improvement over previous outings. It's downright impressive what Monolith Soft accomplishes this time around with the world design and the individual layouts of each environment. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 also manages to address the lackluster explanations of its predecessor, in particular when it comes to combat. You won't be left scratching your head at the battle system this time around. The mechanics are presented at an appropriate pace, and every element can be reviewed via tutorials in case you didn't catch everything the first time around. The battle system is very straightforward, blending together elements of the previous titles, though it leans more heavily into the original game style. You can utilize basic attacks that work on either a timed cooldown or charge as you land each auto attack. Some require you to be in a certain position relative to your target, while others drop AoE fields that must be occupied to gain their benefits. All the while, you can freely toggle between all 6 of your party members, though the way that you swap characters definitely could use some refinement. Additionally, basic attacks can be fused together to begin an interlink between two characters, a bond that allows them to utilize their Ouroboros form, which is essentially a giant mech. Think Dragon Ball's Fusion Dance meets Pacific Rim's Drift compatibility. You can have 3 of these active at any given time, and each utilizes the same ability system as a regular party member, they just pack more power. On top of all of this, a chain attack meter fills up during the course of a fight, and once it's topped up, you can execute a devastating series of blows.
You're in for it now!
Each party member can also take on one of several jobs. Initially, there are 6 jobs that fall into 3 categories: defenders, which are the tanks, melee and ranged DPS, plus healer and support roles to keep your party healthy. As you complete the hero quests mentioned before, you gain access to more advanced jobs, each with a general style that sets it apart. Although some are more distinct than others, like the Soul Hacker, which essentially plays like a blue mage from Final Fantasy, allowing you to absorb and utilize the skills of your enemies. The end result is flashy combat encounters with up to 7 active participants, which makes battles feel much larger in scale. Chain attacks are certainly the most interesting component, with their risk-reward factor depending on which conditions you set out to meet while trying to maximize damage.
Any last word?
Credit to Monolith Soft for crafting a very competent and easy-to-understand battle system. However, the unfortunate reality is that fights begin to lose their appeal around 20 hours into the 100-hour adventure. There is an auto-battle option to alleviate boredom from remedial battles, but the real issue comes down to the fact that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 never challenges you with creative mechanics. Typically, you can hope for boss encounters to throw a curveball every now and then, but with the exception of one showdown and the final boss, this never comes to pass. Essentially, all encounters boil down to simply executing the basics and occasionally changing to a healer to revive a fallen party member while waiting for your chain attack to build up. Even the Ouroboros form is just an extension of the basic combat system and does little to alleviate the issue. Now, to be fair, the lack of tension in most fights, especially boss battles, is also the result of being severely over-leveled during a playthrough. Playing in a way that feels true to the sense of exploration makes it easy for combat to become unbalanced. If you undertake lots of hero quests and other side activities, by the end of Chapter 2, your party members can average 20 levels above any enemies or bosses, and that gap remains to the end of the game. Switching to hard difficulty does little to alleviate this problem, and what's worse is that the game even has a solution, but it keeps it locked away until after you're done. Once you've seen the credits roll, a new feature allows you to level down at campsites where you normally cash in bonus experience to level up. Not granting access to this feature on a first run feels like an egregious oversight. Even an option to simply have bosses sync to your level would have sufficed.
Let's bring it home! Eat
Yet boss encounters definitely deliver on the goods by way of their powerful cinematic presentation and high emotional stakes as dictated by the narrative developments. The cherry on top is the outstanding battle music that accompanies these dramatic confrontations, particularly anytime you duke it out with Mobius, a mysterious group of entities seemingly pulling the strings behind the scenes.
Time for the big one!
Overall, the soundtrack is another stellar effort, and while it certainly borrows from the past with a few upbeat tracks mixed with a sprinkle of nostalgia, the bulk of the songs perfectly accentuate the darker tone and nature of Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Specifically, the use of flutes is amazing, setting the atmosphere with a commanding presence, especially during powerful scenes when heroes Noah and Mio use them to memorialize soldiers who have fallen in battle. There's so much to do and see that it will likely take most players 100 hours just to complete the game, though tackling many of the side quests can easily push that estimate much higher. Not to mention there's significant post-game content that's important for veterans looking to gain more insight into how the game connects with previous entries. Bottom line, it's a Xenoblade game. Expect a significant time investment, for better or worse.
You sure? I'm just practicing, Senna. There's no need for this. Sorry.
Watch out! Come on! They want to
Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is a clear improvement over its predecessors in almost every way. It streamlines so much and avoids past pitfalls, though there's still work to be done in terms of balancing the difficulty. There's a grounded story here with a solid cast of characters, and the basic plot is much easier to digest. The world design exceeds past efforts with ease, and the implementation of hero quests is a game changer. While the devs have done an admirable job making the battle system easier to grasp, it feels like the series has fully explored and exhausted these core combat mechanics, signaling it's time for the next game to change things up. As a whole, it stands as a phenomenal RPG with a one-of-a-kind sense of exploration you can't find anywhere else.
We should be thankful they're back in high spirits.
Let's just hope it's not a mirage.
Final score, 9 out of 10. Thanks for watching our review. We're Easy Allies. We've been writing about games for decades, and we also do podcasts, streams, shows, and more, all funded by generous viewers just like you. Head to patreon.com/easyallies to pitch in and get rewards. And be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to stay connected on YouTube. See you soon.